Okay, welcome to your new term here at uh, Capella. I kind of wanted to go over some things that'll, I hope, be helpful to you this term. Um, a little bit of my background. Um, oh, you couldn't even see my title. There it is. There's some of the certs and stuff. I am a PhD candidate at Capella, so I've been in your shoes a little bit. I've been, basically, if you read this slide, you'll find that I'm very, very old. Let me see, I built my first computer. I was very young, so there's no danger of me croaking this term or anything, in case you're worried. Uh, but I have, a lot of years of computer consulting and things like that. I used to do risk assessments. Uh, Initially I got started doing networking in Northern California. As my youngest daughter got older, she's pretty sensitive to the pollution around there, so we moved out to Colorado. Now I live in Colorado Springs, and that's kind of right after 9/11 hit, so there's a lot of demand for security stuff. Then Congress put in things like Sarbanes-Oxley, so that was a large part of what I did for quite a while. My wife got sick, so I couldn't travel to sites. So I started working more and more from home, and I'd always taught IT, so I kind of increased my load of IT classes and things like that over the years, so I could work more from home. For a lot of years, I supervised a Sarbanes-Oxley compliance and risk assessment team, but now I sold that company, so I'm just doing online education right now. This is a fairly recent picture of me and my family. It's probably 4 or 5 years old. I like mountain biking around here. I haven't had much chance to do it lately. I also do astrophotography. Uh, we have one old cat. He just had surgery, poor guy. And then my wife raises poodle puppies, so she's been doing that for a while now, among other things. So I have a mixed network. While you're learning cyber, it's a great idea to set up a home lab to learn about everything. So along those lines, I decided to tell you, what I have. This you don't need all this stuff, but this is a good way to get started in cyber. Is using virtualization like VMware, building various virtual machines like Kali Linux. And I even have a course on that I'll offer to the members of the class probably around week 3 or so. But I have a few things. You guys probably can tell this. I'm recording this on Windows 7, but just so you know, I don't just have Windows 7. I have a lot of different operating systems. There's a picture of where I'm recording from, and trust me, some of those are Windows 10, some of those are Linux. That RAID 5 station is Linux. So I have a few computers laying around. So what I'd like you to think of is what are your goals for this class? And we're going to specifically be talking about career goals as well. In fact, I'm going to put a thread in that that we're going to talk about and hopefully elicit questions from the learners in the class and hopefully some answers too. But I'll start out with sort of like my take on advancing your cybersecurity career. Now, for some reason, Kaplan has done an update, and I think there might be a way of doing this, but I'm not sure. When I put in an extra discussion, and I'm not going to put, don't be worried thinking I'm putting in something's going to be graded. If I put a discussion, it'll be like Cyber Cafe, general interest in cyber, and of course, this one that I'm talking about right now, which is the career thread. But let me just show you this. Is they did an update and for some reason I'm putting it in the uncategorized ones because you can see most of them are categorized by topic or whatever. But lately it's been last term I hadn't been able to figure out how to reorder it, so it's been appearing at the very bottom at the discussion. So I wanted you to have a heads up on that. I don't get as good a participation. I really want to figure out how this new update works to get it back up here. What I might do, since if I'm still having trouble with that, I might change an existing one, because I think it's ordering by date, and I haven't figured out how to reorder it. Uh, so I might just do this updates and handouts, since it's already put in there. I could just edit it. It would have the same creation date, so it'll still be there. But I might post my stuff in there to keep it towards the top so people don't totally lose it. Uh, oh, one thing, yeah, call me Professor Randy. I've taught for years and years, and I found out that people, even though this is my last name, nobody knows how to pronounce it, and they can't even remember it. They have to check it. It's so bad that they can't. They have to. I spent on ground, full semester. It's just 4.5 months spending hours and hours with learners, and they still didn't know my name at the end of the term. So I've kind of given up on that. But you can call me Professor Randy. And hopefully you won't be go, okay, what does he want me to call him again? I'll have to look that up. I'll have to dig through all my documents. Hopefully, yeah, just call me Professor if it becomes that big an issue. Uh, so career thread, yeah, that'll probably be coming week 3 or 4 in there. Uh, okay, let's talk about how to get full credit for everything. Uh, in order to score, 80 or above or 90, I find, some learners get kind of behind the eight ball, and it's understandable, especially in classes that have an assignment due a week. So, they just give me a couple paragraphs or something like that, and I have to grade on a matrix, and believe me, those do not score well. You'll get some points, you maybe, get more than half, but if you're the kind of learner that likes to be in the 80s or in the 90s, a well-written paper can be in the 90s if it's very well written and above 1,000 words, generally using the Kaplan matrix. So I'm going to put that in there, just so you know. Plus, usually 1,000 words or more. Now, not everybody's going to listen to this recording, and you guys that are listening to it are probably never going to have a problem with this, but I'm just telling you, just as a general rule, because the way we grade on the Capella matrix that's how it usually works out. Discussions, the only thing I could say on discussion is not really too much. Just don't say on your replies, "Way to go, Joe," because I'll never give you credit for something like that. Nice job, Jenny. Those kind of replies don't do them. They do a little bit of analysis of your fellow learners. Posts. Again, I know the conscientious ones will be the ones watching this, so you're kind of preaching to the choir here, but in case you see somebody else doing that, don't be thinking, oh, well, I could do that, because I guarantee you they're not getting prep for that. Uh, and again, I know if you were doing that, you'd be behind the eight ball, had something go on that week or whatever, but just remember, you're not going to get credit for just going, way to go, Joe, or some reply post like that. Usually I usually give like, usually I like to give you full credit on discussions. Try to give me 2 replies. Uh, Obviously, they do better. I'll be less tempted to take off points. I'm not really tempted to take off points, but if you put in an APA style reference, that'll even short up better. So those aren't required to get full credit. APA style citation is not required for full credit, but if you're using ideas or trying to back up your opinion, you certainly will need it. Late assignments, I have probably, one of the strictest late policies of your instructors you'll encounter at Capella. And it's not because, oh, I want you to get everything in on time. And it's not because I don't realize things come up, because I know things come up. But the reason I've done it is, and most of you guys in this recording are in this boat, but there's a lot of people that really press it and they just wait till the end of the term, and the odds of passing under those conditions are like nil. So I found, believe it or not, even though it's counterintuitive, by making the late policies a little bit firmer, I have a much greater percentage of my students don't fail. I mean, I used to have maybe 20% when I had pretty lenient late policy. I had maybe 20% fail a class. And so I just want you to do good. And if there's something comes up, hey, I understand. It's a 10 weeks. A lot of things will go on. I'm totally understanding of that. However, one thing I'm not understanding of is failing to let me know that something come up and then just submitting something. Now, I know you guys will be tempted to email me, but there's no way I can access the inbox for my email and the gradebook at the same time, the way Blackboard is, or WebCT, I mean. So logistically, it becomes really difficult if you submit an assignment and then like a week or two later go, oh, by the way, did I tell you I was out on a military exercise because I'm a reservist? Or, oh, by the way, I'm deployed and my unit was moving, so I went a couple weeks. Don't do that. Don't be tempted to do that, okay? What I want you to do in a case like that, and again, there are legitimate reasons for being late, is jog my memory by placing what happened in the student comments portion of the Dropbox. Let me repeat that. You have a late assignment. You got deployed. You didn't have internet access. You have a legitimate reason for being late. Or even if, it doesn't have to be that legitimate. Just, I will take into consideration, but only if you use the student comments section. I mean, when you guys are probably more familiar with the Dropbox than I am, but there's a text box in there to put comments. That's the only thing I see when I'm grading, and I can't see you send me an email, but I'm not going to be able to see it while I'm grading. So, and I say, hey, even if it's excused, if it's not in that text box, put it in the text box. So, because I may not, I'm not going to see it if it's not in there. So, just remember, put it in the text box, and we won't have any problems. Okay. Here's my contact information, and so, I check my email every day, but sometimes things need to be prioritized even higher. So this Professor Rand goes to my cell phone or wherever I'm at, so you can get me there. You're probably better emailing me in an emergency using the Professor Rand email than talking. But if you have something like really involved where you think a conversation will help, go ahead and leave me a message, and that'll usually forward to where I am, and I'll try to get back to you within 24 hours on that. Quickest way, though, is email. I'll get back to you within probably 12 hours during the week. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you watching this intro, and I hope that you have a great term, and I look forward to working with you. Bye now.